You think you're working on yourself. You wake up early, you watch the right videos, you say the right things to yourself in the mirror. But let me tell you what's actually happening. You are a man performing discipline, not practicing it, performing it. And somewhere deep in your chest, you already know the difference. The brutal truth is this. Most men will spend their entire lives optimizing the surface while the foundation rots. They will buy the right clothes, learn the right vocabulary, mimic the posture of powerful men, and die as imitations, convincing no one, not even themselves. This video is not for those men. What I'm about to show you isn't a list of morning routines or habit stacks, it's a mirror. And for some of you, what you see in it will be the most uncomfortable thing you've encountered in years. But discomfort is the price of transformation. Pain is just the entrance fee. There are 7 habits, not tips, not hacks. Habits, meaning patterns of being so deeply wired into how you operate that the world around you begins to restructure itself to accommodate your presence. When a man carries these 7 things, rooms shift, decisions change, opportunities appear, not because the world became generous, because you became someone it could not ignore. Most men will never get there, not because they lack intelligence, because they lack the courage to be ruthlessly honest with themselves long enough for the change to take root. Let's begin. Habit 1. The silence of dominance. Weak men speak to fill space. Powerful men speak to fill minds. You have been trained your entire life to believe that communication means volume. The man who talks the most must know the most. The man who argues loudest must be most confident. This is one of the most sophisticated lies society has ever told you. And you believed it because everyone around you believed it too. Here is the hidden dynamic. Noise is the language of anxiety. Every unnecessary word you speak is a small confession. A confession that you need to be seen, validated, included. And people can feel that. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. The man who over-explains is announcing his insecurity. The man who over-apologizes is announcing his smallness. The man who fills every silence with words is telling the room he cannot be trusted with power. The most dominant men in any room speak precisely and infrequently, not because they are cold, because they are complete. They don't need the room's approval to feel real. And that self-containment reads as power to every nervous system in the vicinity. Your move is simple, but extraordinarily difficult. Stop speaking when you have nothing of value to say. Sit in the silence. Let others scramble to fill it. Observe what they reveal about themselves in that scramble. Speak only when your words will shift something. Make every sentence cost something. Make people earn your elaboration. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is authority with the volume turned off. Habit 2. The ruthless economy of attention. Where you place your attention is where you place your identity. And right now, your identity is scattered across 30 different directions that lead nowhere. Most men operate with an open economy of attention. They give it freely, reflexively, desperately. A notification comes, they look. A woman tests them, they react. A friend disrespects them, they explain themselves. Every stimulus gets a response. Every provocation gets a reaction. And in doing this, these men hand over their most valuable resource, their focus, to whoever happens to be closest, loudest, or most manipulative. Here is the psychological reality that no one explains to you. The thing a man gives his attention to, he unconsciously signals is more important than himself. Read that again. Every time you drop what you're doing to satisfy someone else's urgency, you have told your subconscious and told the watching world that their agenda outranks yours. High-value men operate with a closed economy. They decide in advance where their attention flows. They have singular obsessions, not scattered interests. They build walls around their focus, not out of arrogance, but out of architectural intelligence. A fortress is not built by spreading the stone evenly across a field. It is built by stacking, concentrating, and compressing. Start treating your attention like blood. You only have so much of it. Every drain must be deliberate. Every allocation must be strategic. When you begin to move through the world this way, something extraordinary happens. People start to compete for your attention instead of you competing for theirs. That reversal is one of the most powerful social transformations a man can engineer. Habit 3. The body as a statement. Before you speak a single word, your body has already given a speech. And for most of you, that speech is catastrophic. Understand something fundamental. The physical form of a man is not separate from his psychology. It is an expression of it. Every pound of fat carried from avoidance, every hunched shoulder shaped by years of apology, every shallow breath drawn from chronic anxiety, your body has been keeping score of every compromise you made. Every time you chose comfort over discipline, your body wrote it down. This is not about aesthetics. This is about internal coherence. When the body is undisciplined, the mind knows it. And a mind that knows its own vessel is weak cannot project genuine dominance. It can perform it, temporarily, but the performance cracks under pressure because the foundation isn't there. The powerful man understands that physical development is psychological warfare against his lesser self. Every session in the gym is not about vanity, it is about building evidence. Evidence that you keep promises to yourself. Evidence that when discomfort arrives, you stay. This accumulation of self-kept promises is what generates real confidence. Not the kind you perform, but the kind that lives in your bones and radiates without effort. Build the body that matches the mind you claim to have. Then build the mind that matches the body you've built. Let them drive each other upward in a relentless spiral. This is not self-improvement. This is self-war. And every high-value man is at war with the version of himself that would rather be comfortable. Habit 4. The art of strategic disappearance. You are too available, and your availability is quietly destroying your value. In economics, scarcity drives price. This is not a metaphor. This is mechanics. And it operates in human psychology with the same mathematical precision. The man who is always present, always responsive, always accessible, that man is free. And the world treats free things without reverence. Most men are terrified of disappearance because disappearance feels like rejection in reverse. They fear that if they stop responding, people will stop caring. That if they withdraw, they will be forgotten. So they stay visible, stay available, stay desperately present in every conversation, every group, every social dynamic. And in doing so, they guarantee their own irrelevance. Here is the inversion that changes everything. Pulling back creates pull. When you remove yourself from spaces, genuinely, not as a tactic, but because you have more important things consuming your energy, the human mind begins to chase. It is wired this way. We want what recedes. We chase what escapes. We value what we cannot fully possess. This is not manipulation. It is alignment. Align your external presence with your internal reality. You are a man on a mission, and that mission does not pause to perform for an audience. Your focus is elsewhere. Your energy is precious. Your time is the most expensive thing you own. Disappear into your work. Disappear into your development. Let the world wonder. Let them speculate. Let them reach for you instead of you reaching for them. The man who creates this dynamic does not do it through games. He does it through genuinely having somewhere better to be. Habit 5. Emotional mastery. The cold throne. Emotion is not weakness. Uncontrolled emotion is weakness. There is a difference so vast that most men never cross it. You have been sold a lie from both directions. One side told you that a real man feels nothing, expresses nothing, admits nothing. The other side told you to express everything, feel everything, share everything. Both of these positions will ruin you. The first produces a brittle man who shatters in private. The second produces a man who is emotionally incontinent and repels everyone who could have respected him. The truth sits in the center like a blade. High-value men feel everything, but they choose what to reveal, when to reveal it, and to whom. They have built an internal architecture where emotions are processed before they are expressed. This is not suppression. Suppression is a pressure cooker waiting to explode. This is transmutation, the act of turning raw emotional energy into fuel, into clarity, into strategic advantage. When someone disrespects you and you respond with immediate rage, you have handed them a map of your triggers. They now know exactly where to press. When you respond with stillness, you have revealed nothing. You have given them nothing to work with. And in that stillness, you have communicated something far more terrifying than anger. I am not moved by you. The cold throne is not comfortable. It is not warm. It requires constant internal discipline. But the man who sits on it, the man who can feel the fire and choose not to burn, that man is genuinely dangerous. Not in a reckless way. In this way, a mountain is dangerous, immovable, indifferent, unconquerable. Habit 6. The standard as identity. What you tolerate is what you become. Read that slowly. Let it cut. Most men have an unconscious tolerance threshold that is set embarrassingly low. They tolerate disrespect in small doses because confrontation feels costly. They tolerate mediocrity in their environments because change feels uncertain. They tolerate the wrong relationships, the wrong habits, the wrong version of themselves, because the pain of staying has not yet exceeded the fear of leaving. And here is the trap. The longer you tolerate something below your standard, the more your psychology recalibrates itself to accept that level as normal. This is not philosophy, this is neuroscience. The brain adapts to its environment. If your environment is weak, your brain optimizes for weakness. Your standards are not a preference, they are an identity architecture. Every standard you enforce is a wall around who you are becoming. Every compromise is a wall removed. High-value men have non-negotiable standards that operate automatically, without drama, without announcement. They do not threaten to leave situations that disrespect them. They simply leave. They do not lecture people who waste their time. They withdraw their time. The standard is enforced not through emotion, but through action, consistently, quietly, with the calm certainty of a man who knows his worth cannot be debated. Raise your standard in one area of your life today, not 10. 1. Hold it without wavering for 30 days. Watch how your identity begins to restructure itself around that new line, then raise another. This is how a man builds himself from the inside out, not through motivation, which fades, but through enforced standards, which compound. Habit 7. The long game, vision as armor. Every weak man is living for today. Every powerful man is living for a version of himself that does not yet exist. Here is what separates the merely disciplined from the truly dangerous. The relationship with time. Most men operate on a short-term psychological horizon. They make decisions based on how they feel right now, what they want right now, how they are perceived right now. They are imprisoned in the present tense. And because they are imprisoned in the present, they are controlled by whoever or whatever can most powerfully affect their present comfort. The man with a long-term vision is nearly impossible to manipulate. His decisions are not made in the emotional weather of today. They are made in the cold, strategic clarity of a 10-year projection. He can absorb short-term loss, short-term disrespect, short-term discomfort, because none of these things exist in the time frame that matters to him. He is playing a different game entirely, and playing a different game means the moves that would trap an ordinary man simply do not apply. This vision is not a dream. Dreams are passive, indulgent, shapeless. Vision is a blueprint with a deadline and a cost. It is precise. It is demanding. It makes you uncomfortable on purpose because a vision that doesn't frighten you slightly is not worth carrying. Carry something that frightens you. Let it wake you at 5 in the morning, not with a scream, but with a pull. Let it make small pleasures feel shallow because you have tasted the depth of something real. This is what purpose feels like. Not comfortable, not warm, magnetic. Pulling you forward through every obstacle, every failure, every day where you don't feel like it. The vision is your armor, and no weapon formed against a man who knows exactly where he is going will prosper. The death of the old version. Now I need you to stop for a moment, because everything I have described to you in this video, the silence, the attention economy, the physical discipline, the disappearance, the emotional mastery, the standards, the long game, none of it is available to the man you were before you clicked play. That man cannot access these habits. He is too invested in being liked, too afraid of his own potential, too comfortable with the suffering he knows to risk the unfamiliar suffering of transformation. That man has been with you for a long time. He whispers that you're not ready. He argues that now isn't the right time. He negotiates with every moment of difficulty until you stop. You have to let him die, not dramatically, not with a ceremony, just with a decision. A quiet, violent, irrevocable decision that the man who walked into this video is not the man who walks out. That the old agreement you had with your own limitations, The one where you said this is just how I am is now void, terminated, burned. You are not just how you are what you decide to build. And building requires demolition first. The identity you are protecting is the very structure standing between you and the man you could become. Let it fall. Watch it fall. Do not mourn it. What rises from that rubble is harder, quieter, more dangerous, more real. Closing. Most men will watch this, feel something shift for a moment, and then return to their lives unchanged. They will find a reason. They always do. The timing isn't right. They'll start next week. They need more information first, more preparation, more permission. They will wait for a version of readiness that never comes, because readiness is not a feeling. It is a decision made in the absence of feeling. But a few of you, a very few, will recognize something in this video not as new information, but as permission. Permission to become what you have always suspected you were capable of being. Permission to stop apologizing for your ambition, your standards, your silence, your hunger. This path is not designed for the many. It is designed for the few who are willing to be misunderstood, to be alone in their standards, to be relentless in their vision when everyone around them has settled. If that is you, if you felt this video not just in your mind, but in your chest, then you already know what to do. The door is open. Most people stand at the threshold and turn back. Step through. If this reaches something in you that other content doesn't, subscribe. Not because I asked you to, because you've already decided you're not done yet.